A meeting scheduled for today will determine whether a high school history teacher gets to keep his job after stomping on an American flag during a lesson on the First Amendment.
I put the flag on the ground and I take 2 steps with my right foot and I said, this is an example of freedom of speech. There could be other ways to teach the subject. But in the same vein, the way that I taught it can't necessarily be wrong.
Well, so was it wrong, or should the teacher get to keep his job? Alex Dunn is a student at Massey Hill Classical High School in North Carolina. He was there in the class for the lesson and took a photograph of the incident. Alex, thanks for joining us this morning. I'm sure you didn't expect to be on television when you stepped into class on Monday. Put us in the classroom that day. Were you shocked? What was your initial reaction when he pulled that flag out and stood on it?
When he stood on the flag, my initial reaction was shock, and I was in awe. I didn't want to believe it, and a lot of it was just heartbreak.
Heartbreak. I mean, and so you stood, he even mentioned a lighter and some scissors, right? I mean, was he open to lighting it on fire and cutting it possibly too?
I think he was hinting at that he could have done that. Of course, he couldn't have done that in school. But the fact that he stood on top of the flag took it to a whole other level.
Sure, I mean, a lot of people think you shouldn't be doing that in school as well. But you took action. You and another classmate did what in response to that?
One other classmate walked out, and after I took the pictures, I stood up, picked up the flag, and took the flag to the principal's office.
No, I mean, reminiscent of Rick Monday, a lot of people remember him in the outfield grabbing a flag from a protester trying to light it on fire. What are the other students in the class? How did they react? Did they think it was okay? Did they support you? What was the reaction?
I would say that the majority of the school, we all understand why he did it. We just don't think he should have taught it that way.
Sure, that makes sense. I mean, speaking of the school superintendent had this to say about this really stunt. Clearly, there are other ways to teach First Amendment rights without desecrating the flag. In your mind, I mean, there's some fears amongst parents here that our classrooms are not teaching patriotism or not reinforcing traditional values. Do you feel like, is it cool now to not like America? I mean, other students sort of say, hey, this is fine?
I think that it's becoming a norm to not be patriotic, and that's something that I honestly fear.
And why do you fear that?
Because a country that isn't patriotic about itself is ultimately doomed.
If you ultimately don't remember why that flag is worth fighting for and those who purchased your ability to stand on it, that does certainly become a problem. But I want to commend you. I know a lot of other people probably feel the same way. For taking a photo and standing up and taking an action and taking it to the principal, that's a big move. So kudos to you, and thank you for joining us. I hope things are ironed out there properly.
Thank you.
You got it. Wow. Courageous kid.